वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 ऐसा लग रहा है चल रही है या ऐसे लग रहा है होने में? Why are missiles being fired? Why are people being killed? We have an expert. Now, he is a retired Major General of the Indian Army. इनको पता है डिफेंस स्ट्रैटेजीज क्या होती हैं, इनको ये भी पता है कि क्या फोर्सेस इसके पीछे वर्क करती हैं, क्यों वॉर्स होती हैं, क्यों नहीं होती हैं, इंडिया के ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है, इंडिया कैसे आगे जाने वाला है और यूएस क्या ये वॉर जीत पाएगा या सिर्फ ट्रम्प की प्रेसिडेंसी नीचे आएगी. Why is actually the war happening and who started it?
War is as old as humankind is. Entire aim is to make money for America. Present day world looks for power.
Do you think US underestimated Iran?
America अपना aim सही नहीं identify कर सका.
सही नहीं identify कर
They could not identify the aim correctly.
बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं ये एप्स्टीन फाइल्स को दबाने के लिए ये वॉर शुरू की है. How much truth there is in it? And why would they do it?
Epstein files cannot be buried. Those 52 pages may have been hidden or destroyed, but there will be many forms of it existing.
इंडिया पे क्या इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है द करंट वॉर?
We are really affected.
वेलकम टू अ डे फॉरवर्ड. वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 ऐसा लग रहा है चल रही है या ऐसे लग रहा है होने वाली है. And everybody is confused what is actually happening. Why is all this happening? Why are missiles being fired? Why are people being killed? Why are 10, 12, 15 countries involved? सब लोग confused हैं. इसीलिए आज हम एक podcast लेके आए हैं. Now, here we have an expert. Now, he is a retired Major General of the Indian Army, Major General SVP Singh. Now, he is a very well awarded army veteran. और इनके पास हर चीज़ की नॉलेज है. इनको पता है डिफेंस स्ट्रैटेजीज क्या होती हैं, इनको ये भी पता है कि क्या फोर्सेस इसके पीछे वर्क करती हैं, क्यों वॉर्स होती हैं, क्यों नहीं होती हैं, इंडिया के ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है, इंडिया कैसे आगे जाने वाला है और यूएस क्या ये वॉर जीत पाएगा या सिर्फ ट्रम्प की प्रेसिडेंसी नीचे आएगी. इसको लेके और बहुत सारे ऐसे टॉपिक जो एक आम आदमी को नहीं पता होते इस पॉडकास्ट पे डिस्कस होंगे. लेट्स वेलकम जनरल. Welcome, General.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vipin Suri. It's my great honor.
Yeah.
I have followed your few podcasts, and in the pecking order, I will come somewhere where my height is, just as short as small, because you have done with great luminaries. So that's a special honor for me.
No, sir.
To be here today. And yes, I look forward to a very interesting and energetic session with you.
Yeah. So, General, first and foremost question. Most of our audience are either businessmen or they are corporates or students as well. अब हम लोगों के लिए when we look at the television screen or we look at social media, so much is going on. 10, 12 countries involved, entire Middle East involved, Europe involved, US obviously started the war. Now, हम लोगों के लिए ना ये सब कुछ confusion है. We are not clear why is actually the war happening and who started it. If you can begin by simplifying this for us.
To put it in simplest terms, war is as old as humankind is.
Okay.
So, I'm sure even Adam and Eve would have fought with each other. And that's how the world started then. And I think that's the way God has willed it.
Okay.
There is Akal and there is Kal.
Okay.
So that's why the world is warring with each other. This is one way of putting it. Yes. Why this war? Why on the scene is Donald Trump? So since Donald Trump has come and his 2.0 administration, which is now the functional administration, a new or a disordered world order is existing. And it has been existing with one weapon And that weapon is tariffs.
Hmm.
And what is tariff? Tariff is money, wealth, paisa. So his entire aim is to make money for America. And he, being a businessman by nature, he believes in transactions. If whatever he has said, he doesn't negotiate. He transacts by order.
Okay.
Having risen to be the POTUS, the most powerful designation
In the world.
in the world, he's exercising that power to the utmost, which his predecessors have not done. So this is one factor what we are facing. So when we have to understand this, I will say the world is facing two major things: energy, that is oil,
Yeah.
and terrorists. These are the two major things which dictate our lives
Currently.
currently. And in that, there are two wars going on. There's a war in the Middle East, West Asia, and preceding that was the Ukraine-Russia war.
Hmm.
If you look at it, at both of them, ultimately it is what I have said. Even Russia, apart from its own security, that NATO had moved eastwards, and only buffer left was Ukraine,
Hmm.
which again they were trying to occupy or
Yeah.
dictate. And why Russia was threatened, not only because of the weapon systems which they would have deployed, like the NATO weapon system, threat to its security, it was also that Putin has also been looking for more energy, agricultural land, and that eastern Ukraine is very rich in all that.
He's already acquired, say, what, 30% of Ukraine.
Before the war started, it was about 18 to 20% they had already occupied post the Crimea War of 2014,
Hmm.
in which he had occupied Crimea, and then it was ongoing. And so the Donbass region is rich industrially and also agriculturally. It's a fertile land. So when we look at it, then oil tariffs and all, they're falling in place.
Hmm.
What about Middle East and West Asia? It falls in the geopolitical fault lines.
What do you mean by fault lines?
Fault lines is that there are certain areas, certain segments where they have been always disturbed. There have been tectonic shifts, warlike situations which are there. And this West Asia falls under that fault line.
And why is that? क्यों हमेशा वहाँ जंग रही है? Only because of oil?
Because of the resources there. Definitely. Oil is the major weapon. Oil is the major resource. Oil is the gold.
Hmm.
Gold for humankind today, along with water.
Huh.
So that is why, they're looking for this area. Also, this is an area which is a contested area. If I have to draw on Huntington theory, Huntington had come out with a theory, white world versus the non-Christian white world.
Okay.
Basically, it was the Muslim
world.
So this area, if you look at it, it is all Muslim.
Yeah.
And I'm saying with a lot of deference, respect to each community, when I mention any community or religion. But Israel is the one which is surrounded by them, which is non-Muslim.
Yeah.
And so this area also carries on the spiritual front great meaning. It's a land, particularly when I say Israel, of 3 prophets,
Hmm.
Abrahamic religions which are there. We have Moses, this is the Jews, we have Jesus, prophet, which is the Christians, and then we have the Muslims, which is Muhammad the prophet. So just imagine
all 3 originating
from one root, but today they are warring.
Hmm.
So this is a fault line, because even in Jerusalem, there are claims that this is our place of worship.
place of worship. Yeah.
So this, I say, in my thinking, is also a fault line.
Huh.
The last toast of Jesus, I will put it, And what happened to Ali Khamenei? Jesus was the last toast.
Yeah.
And this was the month of Ramzan.
When Ali Khamenei
Ali
was-
Khamenei was done with fasting. Is there a connect? They fast in these months.
Yeah, they do.
So he was done with at that time when the Christian was the last toast. What is the connectivity? I leave it for the viewers to analyze that.
Wow.
So,
We never thought it that.
so now, why we are worried? The present day world looks for power, and a big nation looks for bigger power.
Smaller nation.
Smaller nations are the small fish, and the big fish will go hunting. I'm putting in the simplest words. So, what is happening in the world today? Two wars. I can call it two centers of gravity. One is Europe, other is West Asia. But there's a third center of gravity also,
Which is
which will develop, and it will be China-Taiwan.
China-Taiwan.
Taiwan. Because
Okay.
China claims Taiwan as its own, and USA considers itself to be the guardian of Taiwan as the unsinkable aircraft carrier in the South China Sea area or the East Asian Sea. Now, these are the three major conflicts which are there.
But the third one is yet to.
It is simmering. It has been simmering over the years. I'm deviating a little from the because your question is so deep. In one simple sentence, you have put a very deep question. So these are the three areas which are really simmering in the world. And smaller things I will say is like Indo-Pak, South Asia, what are the Indo-Pak wars, which was of deep concern to us, greater concern to us. Now, United States also came out with its national security strategy in December.
Yeah.
So Trump has also defined its sphere of influence. The Western Hemisphere is America's. That Monroe Doctrine, which was old Monroe Doctrine with the former president, but previous century. South America is theirs.
हमारा है तभी वेनेजुएला को भी उठा लिया.
So Venezuela is the one which has been picked up this time. And what a neat operation. You know, when you're enjoying a lovely sleep, you're just starting to dream, and your dream is fulfilled that Maduro lands up in United States. He put it, it's a very marvelous operation. Very, I would give a great credit to the American planning and operation which was done there. Though I will not put the same words for any other war which they have done. But this one was a very neat one. Intelligence was the main work, and the force level employed did a synchronized work. What he was picked up, so Western Hemisphere, the message was China and Russia, you lay off. And you know, they are not even squeaked. I'm using the word squeaked. कि किसी ने कुछ बोला नहीं.
बोला भी नहीं, कोई भी नहीं बोला, वर्ल्ड में कोई नहीं
तो
बोला.
हम बोल सकते हैं कि हिम्मत नहीं थी कि चाइना भी वेनेजुएला के रेस्क्यू में नहीं आया क्योंकि चाइना के ऊपर इतना डिपेंडेंट था मडूरो, और रशिया भी नहीं आया. So that is one part of it. Other is when it's
क्यों नहीं आया?
क्यों नहीं आया? Because
ना रशिया आया ना चाइना आया. किसी ने कुछ नहीं बोला, वो उठा के ले गए उसको.
they silently acknowledge the American supremacy. Silently, the world has to accept American supremacy. Military power, science and technology power, a space power, a land full of riches, fertile land. We all have to accept that. If we don't, we are living in the wrong generation. We have to accept. So, they have also accepted it, though it's an interdependent world today. China dictates rare earths and America needs it. So China holds back America's power. I will not give you rare earths, so the compromise comes. So what happens is a tariff. Trump has always extended their leverage, though he went into 3 digits also. He's going in the next fortnight. He's expected to visit
China.
Beijing and meet Xi Jinping. And I think preliminary talks have started in Paris from this week onwards. So China also did not Another reason is time and space.
Hmm.
Russia and China are far distant away from Venezuela or South
Yeah.
America. So for them, the logistic lines of trying to be a part out there is, though
It's tough.
China, it's BRI, the road initiative, which is called the trade routes which they have done. They have made great inroads into South America, trade and buying land there, and the tech diplomacy is very much alive. How they overcome it, let us see. So that is another one. That's the reason Russia also acknowledges, and also why Russia has not interfered. There is a special chemistry between Trump and Putin.
Unsaid chemistry.
Unsaid chemistry, because his first Trump 1.0 election victory was also attributed of Russians clandestine or covert support. But that's what Hillary Clinton has claimed, and she lost that election. Now, and that has come to fore when Trump 2.0 has come. He invites Putin to America. They're meeting in Alaska. They meet, and the body language of Putin coming to shake hands with them was that the boss has arrived on the American land.
Yeah.
If you study that body language, the interpersonal relationship, he set foot on that place, I am the boss. And he came out of it, perhaps on his own terms, and there was no deal done. But Putin calls the 7 European heads to White House, acts as their headmaster, dictates to them every term which he wants in the presence of Zelensky. So, all the peace deal which is being proposed by America, no doubt about it, it is favorable to Russia, because he tells Zelensky or Ukraine, shed your land.
मेरा 33% land आ गया हमारे पास.
Before 18 to 20% was there. Today it is about 22 little plus percent. Russia has not made major inroads into territorial gains, but they have damaged Ukraine largely. Of course, their own damages and losses have been tremendous. But Russia is a country with a very strong military industrial complex. So their production lines to replace, they keep recycling. And their economy has not suffered as was expected, because the oil diplomacy played very well.
Very well. They were supplying to India and to
China and India were the good guzzlers of the Russian oil, and it was a win-win situation for both. So Putin now didn't want to say anything on the Venezuela situation because it suits him. And when I say this, I qualify it. Today, when America was
step foot on
trying to browbeat India buying Russian oil, because indirectly it supports Ukraine war. But India's stance and America's stance has changed. Turtle today, he's made it open to buy Russian crude oil. There's a reason for that also.
Because India is kind of allowing.
No, America is allowing, and so India was allowed 30 days grace. Now he has told others. So I think that 30 days may or may not be applicable. But what has happened? It's a boon for Putin, for Russia, because India was buying as low as $70 a barrel. Now the Russia will charge what is the world price of Brent. So Russia is going to gain, and the writing is on the wall. Ukraine, you better come to terms now, because this is what has happened. No one is speaking about this. Russia.
Where do you think is the Iran?
Yeah. So now I've just given you a world view.
Yeah.
And so Taiwan I will not touch at this stage, but I've given these two things because Trump is very well actively involved in all three. So that is the thing. And he's a leader in his own right.
Yeah.
He's a leader who may be disliked, but he's doing what he feels is right. So what has happened in Iran war now? It is not the first America-Iran duel which is taking place. Last year in June, the 12-day war.
12-day war also
was the American having entered that 12-day war in support of Israel. Now, what is the aim? what are the American aims in this war? वो समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है ना.
वही जानना ज़रूरी है.
और the beauty is कि मेरी समझ के मुताबिक अमेरिका अपना एम सही नहीं आइडेंटिफाई कर सका.
सही नहीं आइडेंटिफाई कर.
They could not identify the aim correctly.
Okay.
You see, when a nation goes to war, there is a grand strategy. There is a political aim. And if you want to go to war, you give the military aim. And then the military takes over
कि this is
how
what
it's
we
going
are
to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So, what was the political aim? And what is the military aim? There is been a mixed match. इसमें मैं महाभारत से कोट करूंगा अभी.
अच्छा.
You see, there's a very lovely, great book written, The Difficulty of Being Good, by one Mr. Gurcharan Das.
Okay.
It is on Mahabharata. It has got all the main characters of the Mahabharata. He is given a chapter each on them. So the first chapter is made a big mark on me, and that was that when I met Mr. Gurcharan Das on his book launch, I had already read his book. So he asked in that little thing before starting the coffee on, has anyone read my book? And I found, a lot of senior guys, secretaries and generals were there and senior to me, but everyone was quiet, and I said, I read your book. So he walked up to me and introduced. So he said, General, what is the single most message
in the book
you got from the book? I said, your first chapter. So it is the chapter 1 on Duryodhana.
अच्छा.
When Duryodhana and his Mamu Shakuni are coming back after visiting Indraprastha, after the 14 years Banvas is over,
of Pandavas.
Pandavas. So Shakuni looks at his nephew and says, Kid, what is troubling you? I see your eyes are on fire and your belly is burning. तुम्हारी आंखों में आग लगी है और पेट तुम्हारा इतना लग रहा है मुझे कि गुस्से में उबल रहा है. He said, I cannot stand the Pandavas have flourished in this 14 years when I thought that they would have been nothing. I can't bear this. So Shakuni asked, Bhanja, what do you want? He uses 3 words. I want destruction of Pandavas. Destruction of Pandavas. Shakuni says, no problem. I will take you to war. I'll not fight. I'll fight with dice. And we will win it. So, what was the aim?
The aim of destruction of
Duryodhana, as a military commander, said the destruction of Pandavas. Stalin to his military commanders in Second World War, the directive was to go to Germany to capture Berlin. That was the military aim. 3 words. That is the military aim. What has been the American aim? Has it come out anywhere?
No.
The president says one thing. The Secretary of Defense, who's now Secretary of War, he says another thing. The Secretary of State says the third thing. So, within the American administration itself, the clarity of aim and purpose
is missing.
What the military would have done in this is what we are seeing on ground today. Now, that is a very important thing. So, what are the reasons for this war? Number of things emerge. Firstly, it was in June 25, Operation Midnight Hammer, to obliterate or destroy the nuclear facilities of Iran. And thus doing so, destroy the nuclear program. So that doesn't turn into a nuclear weapon state. They're allowing them to become a nuclear energy state. And for that, 20 to 30% suffices, but they have reached 60%. But Trump comes out that time that we have obliterated their nuclear this thing. But this time again, the same aim has come. So it will not be possible for a nation within those 8 months period that
They can produce it again.
they can produce it again. And even you require 9 months for all good things in the world on earth out here. So to me, it was a premature aim of the Americans, or it was not the truthful aim.
Or maybe they're not speaking that our
Yeah.
aim is something else, but they're not clearly stating what it is.
Then secondly, they also said it is destruction of their missile capability, missile launchers, missile sites, missile production sites.
But why?
Because America and Israel fear or do not want the military might of Iran to emerge. Why? It is not only targeting Israel, whom they say they are the ones Zionists, and they should be wiped out from
the
map of the world. Now, their Iran is a big defaulter. We can't do that with nations. We can't do that with human beings. So, Iran has got its own axis, supported by Russia and China. Another reason why they did not go to Venezuela, because they would like to give their
support.
protective hand and support here, which is closer to them. So that is the reason. Thirdly, America latently and silently and cleverly have got the Gulf countries around them. So they got the basis. That's another end. And next is also, and in this, when I say missile, it's also the naval, air force, air defense weapon systems, so that the military capability is destroyed. And in that aim, they had to finish off with the political leadership. That is the regime leader, and in term, regime replacement, change of regime. An aim which is very difficult to achieve. But
have they stated that they want to see? They stated they want to end the leadership, and Khomeini was gone. That's there. But have they stated they want a regime change? America.
Yes, directly, indirectly, in statements here, there, including Israel, Netanyahu. And then they have gone back also on that. But it has been definitely on their radar, on the radar blip. And why say that? When there were protests in Iran, and 25 to 30,000 people were killed in these recent protests because of inflation and other things, difficulty of living, and the high-handedness of that cleric regime there. They were supporting EU rise, and there will be a regime change. That is one. So they've been inciting the Iranian population, and Raza Pahlavi, the son of Shah, he suddenly appears after 47 years, trying to become a claimant to rule Iran, which Trump, the clever statesman as well, I would say, I'll call him statesman here. He said, no, he's not giving him any this thing. He's not fit in his eyes to go. He wants someone, son of the soil, living there to echo. That's his statement. So regime change has been this thing, but now they've gone back on that. When they've done all this.
Because they think it can't happen?
Yes. You see, the regime change doesn't happen with a war being fought in a standoff mode. Standoff mode, I mean, is you're using your air missiles. There's no direct contact. What you need is
direct contact inside
direct contact on the soil, on the soil of the country. That means boots on ground. You need the military on the ground to do this action. Therefore, if you're not present there, how will you start dictating the terms? By just doing aerial bombardment and missile strikes or drone strikes today? It doesn't work out. You need boots on ground. You have to occupy. And it's a very different question then. how it can be done in a country like Iran.
Yeah.
So about the regime, and even Netanyahu made that.
How and whether it can be done or not.
Before that, last one point also is the reasons. It is again that oil.
Control.
It's the control of oil. And control of oil, incidentally, America is only 4% importer of oil from this Gulf region. So that you can put a different question, why then so much of interest?
Yeah, that was
Why Hormuz, Straits of Hormuz has come up in a such
That's
a
my
big-
next question only. If
So-
America is only importing 4% from Iran, then why so much?
So we can cover that later. So with this oil, America's revenue is threatened today by BRICS, largely by BRICS. Though it's a small organization, 10 countries and little more associate
No, but
members.
Those 10 countries are some big ones.
And big
Russia, India, China
their GDP and their population, if you see.
is huge.
So currency, they're trying to work on alternate currency. So what is being threatened is that dollar. And the dollar is
replaced.
And dollar is having its power through petrodollars. And Russia and Iran, China and Iran are doing their oil trade in yuan.
Yuan.
So it's an indirect attack on China as well, as it was done in Venezuela for Russia and this thing. But here there's a paradox. The paradox is that China is affected deeply because they're the largest importer of oil from Iran. But its partner and close friend Russia is the biggest gainer. China is not, but Russia is. So China may not be very happy with Russia, why they are doing this. So it's such a paradox of the world order. No question can be answered
in a clean slate.
Clean.
ये इसलिए
वो नहीं है. There's no black and white in this. There are gray, and that's why there's gray zone warfare on in the world also. So these are the reasons
why the war is happening. I have another question. Out of the blue, when Iran fired missiles and drones to 8 different countries around it, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi, Iraq, Kuwait, all of them, all these nations. Now, all these nations are strong military powers as well, and they are rich nations. मतलब इतने सारे लोगों के ऊपर उन्होंने bombs गिरा दिए, सब गिरा दिया. They all intercepted those bombs. Okay? And some of them Aramco की factory में गिरा, सब जगह गिरा. But none of them fired back. ऐसा क्यों?
This is a question which is drawing the attention of the leaders and the general public at large all over the world, particularly in India. And I think the Americans also would be putting a question. The Gulf countries themselves, were the monarchies who are affected, they'll be putting the question to themselves, should we attack or not? So why they have not done it?
And it's been 16, we are on the 16th.
17th day.
17th day, yeah.
So this is a subject by itself. I think Iran has strategized its war very well. The grand strategy is got deeper meaning. A country which is nowhere in military strength with America, nowhere in science and technology when comparing America and Israel along, particularly I'll say military technology. But they have strategized very well. And the credit goes to Khamenei regime in that. And one of the strategy is, and he warned them, he said, if America attacks, we are going to attack you. We are going to harm you. That warning was there. That caution was there. And why they have done it? Firstly, why Iran has done it? Next question is then why they are not reacting?
That we understand because America has military bases there.
They have got, in all these places, they got bases and 50 to 60,000 troops along with, fighter aircrafts, F-35s, F-22s, F-15s. They are all there. The interceptor missiles, they are all existing there. Despite that, Iran has launched, but they did a very good thing to begin with. They only hit the military bases
or American consulate.
on American consulates and the military bases like Al Udeid in Qatar is the largest military base. It's also the forward headquarters of the CENTCOM, Central Command of the US Army. It was to tell them, okay, listen, these foreigners should go off our land. This is our land. West Asia, Middle East is our land. Second message in that was, yeah, we are one religion. There's a Huntington theory. Remember that. You've forgotten. You've forgotten your motherland. I put it that way.
Yeah.
You've forgotten your motherland. Someone else is giving you security. Why not you yourself? Because of your selfish interest? No, why they have not reacted? I use the word monarchies. Rajtantra Desh.
हाँ,
राजतंत्र देश
राजा चलाता है।
राजा साहब चला रहे हैं आजकल तो इंग्लैंड में भी और बड़े हिले हुए हैं अभी पार्लियामेंट में उन्होंने पेयर की हेरिडेटरी फैक्टर निकाल दिया सो दे आर वरिड मोनार्कीज कि हम ना हिल जाएं क्योंकि जितनी भी मोनार्की चला रहे होंगे सिमरिंग उसकी अपोजिशन तैयार होती है देश में कि ये मौजें कर रहे हैं इतनी दे आर एंजॉइंग द oil, petrol, dollars, so much, whatever they are doing. And इसमें उन्होंने थोड़ा with that in aim, they have been very careful. If they retaliate to Iran, 2-3 things will happen. Firstly, they would become party to the war of Israel. Party to the war of Israel. I'm not putting America right now. And Israel, when it was born in 1948, all these nations
were against it.
Attacked in 1948. They joined Jordan and all that to attack Israel just at its birth. But Israel, the Jewish people, for their survival, for their existence, they fought back. They survived and they became very strong subsequently. Subsequent wars in 67, 73, they came out clear victors. 1956 also, along with UK and France, they won that thing. So that is the thing they now know that as history will travel into future history, are we really with Israel? Or where our land has been taken, the Palestinians, who are also their religion?
Their religion.
So I think that is one defensive aspect of their thing. The second aspect, one is that they would join war. Second is this. Thirdly, if they join war, then their oil fields, oil refineries will be targeted to the hilt. If those are destroyed, then I'm with another bowl. Oil, petrol will go away.
Then I don't have anything.
Then where I am left in the coming years,
Yeah.
it will not happen immediately. That's a very big thing. And the last point I would like to qualify in that is that in their hearts, they know that America can abandon you at any time. They can drop you like a ton of bricks, at any time. So they are enjoying the American presence because of their oil, the trade, and the wealth which they are creating in this. So to my mind, these are the factors. There could be more reasons also. So they are not reacted. But so far. And so far, why? Because they also might be war gaming themselves. How long the Russian missile capability will last. If that ceases and it comes to the front, then they might want to react and join hands. But I personally feel that they will not do.
Chances are
they will not do because Bahrain, I think the foreign minister made a statement last week or 10 days back that if Qatar asks America to withdraw from here, what Americans will do, they will supply arms to Qatar as well as to Iran. And silently, they will give way to greater Israel,
Okay.
the Levant. And this is one of the reasons in the grand strategy, the reason for war. The grand strategy of Israel, to which America, Trump, they have paid the Pied Piper, and Netanyahu is a masterstroke statesman, soldier also. They are looking for greater Israel, the biblical Israel, which includes territories, which is Palestine, Gaza, Jordan, part of it, Syria, Lebanon, portion of northern Saudi Arabia, and some more, as the greater Israel. They are slowly moving
Towards
that step by step. So Gaza, more or less gone. Palestine, I think till last year, they had about 140 settlements, Israeli settlements in the Palestine West Bank. I think today it's about 220 or a little more.
Wow.
So this is how, we talk of China, grab, salami slicing. Salami slicing is also on here. So it's a step by step. So greater Israel is the grand strategy
of Israel.
Yeah. And America, it suits them.
It suits.
Or even if it doesn't suit them, America financially is being held by the Jew population there
Yeah,
in America.
in America. So so you mean to say that a lot of strategies which come out of the government of United States are governed by the Jews because of the Jewish business.
Financial lobby is very strong there.
Very, very strong.
Very strong. They got a very strong voice. They may not have the population, but sometimes the minority controls the majority.
The whole of Manhattan is owned by them.
So that is it. And also, there was something known as Great Game. The Great Game started between Britain and Russia.
Yeah.
So that Russia doesn't get into the Eurasian land area and then on to Afghanistan, towards Afghanistan, and to seek warm water ports, entry into the Arabian Sea, and also in the Himalayas, the Tibetan region and all. So that was a great game to ward off this thing. But today the great game is between America and any other place. The great game comes to play. And this is all part of that great game which is taking place.
Being played. So Israel has a lot at stake, that means.
Israel has a lot of...
I would say everything at stake.
You see, their existence is the greatest threat to them. So it is, for them, greatest threat means if I'm thirsty, I can't live without water. And of course, we can't live without air. For them, when anything happens, they are thirsty that this land should be protected. It's our holy land.
At any cost.
So when I talk about existentialism, even today, Iran feels that our existence is under threat. They're trying to wipe us out. They're telling the West, the Americans are talking, Israelis are talking about our nuclear power, this thing, nuclear weapon state. But we are not one. We are declared. IAE also has said that they don't have any nuclear weapons. Their program perhaps is not there right now for that. Despite that, they've ignored it, Americans, as the junior Bush, George Bush, ignored the advice that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But they went in and they told the whole world that they have got this WMD. And so they have paid price for that. The British Prime Minister of that time, Tony Blair, has paid a price for that. So this again is there because there are no nuclear weapons. So Iran says our existence is also being threatened, but we are a civilization state, so we will fight back. Israel, they say, has got undeclared nuclear weapons. So whose existence is more endangered is what Iran's point of view.
Do you think United States underestimated Iran's military power or their defense? They just thought there'll be a pushover.
Yes.
But
Mossad, the Israeli intelligence, and CIA, the American intelligence, they are masters in intelligence network, particularly Mossad. They did an excellent intelligence work in June 25 war.
Yeah.
They wiped out their leadership, military leadership, the nuclear scientists at that time. They have done it this time also. They had pinpoint location with timings. What will happen? You have heard about Khamenei itself, the traffic light.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had put cameras there. So to that degree, the intelligence is there. At one point of time, when Iran wanted to get a core group of about 20 people, Ahmed Jani was the president, and it is his statement, the 20 of this thing, they found that the head of the Iranian intelligence was the spy of the Mossad.
Oh my God.
So that is a Mossad as strong as that. But what happened now? This such good intelligence is also to be combined with military appreciation and assessment of your enemy. And it is not only, firstly, they should know what is their weapon systems, armaments, resources, the power to the staying power.
Yeah.
Military industrial complex part of it. The more important assessment, to my mind, has been absent perhaps,
Okay.
and that is cognitive mind. The cognitive, that means your brain.
का दिमाग कैसे चला?
दिमाग कैसे चल रहा है, दिमाग में क्या है, मेरे ओपोनेंट का दिमाग में क्या है,
क्या
मैं
next
आपके सामने
strategy
बैठा
होगा?
हूँ, आप मैं कुछ बोल रहा हूँ, दिमाग में उसके क्या चल रहा है, वो मेरी असेसमेंट होनी चाहिए. वो असेसमेंट तो इनकी, it has come to almost zero, I would say. They could not assess what Ali Khamenei's clergy rule was there 47 years or 37 years and 47 years of the revolution. Which way has the nation been taken to? The mass following, their will to fight for their nation, for their motherland, where the people who are opposing,
They totally miscalculated that.
they totally miscalculated the will of the nation, the will of the leaders. And Khamenei had given them a 5 down or 4 down decentralization of leadership in every sphere, military, science.
That's why all the top people, they are gone, but they're still fighting.
They're still fighting.
Because of the decentralization.
Decentralized. And so American aim, again we say, okay, whether it's a change of regime, they thought we'll bite them out. Political leadership, now they eliminating the scientists also, nuclear scientists. They did it in June also. They wiped out the military leadership. But look, the nation is fighting. There has been firstly no infighting come to surface for the successor of Ali Khamenei. Whether it is Mujtaba, whether he is well or not, whatever is being reported is a moot question. But even if Mujtaba, which Americans are claiming and Israelis, that they're done him with, or that he's disfigured or whatever, it's meaningless because there's the next man sitting there. Today I resigned from my job. I should know that there's the next man who will take over. So that is the thing which Khamenei has left behind. You will fight, and you will fight to the end. And I am not aware as to what is their military industrial complex working, what is the production line which is coming up. Their military doctrine has been on underground missile cities.
They have many years.
For many years. Did they assess that? What is that capability? Look at this. These missiles, they're drones, they've used normal missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles have come out slowly, So that means there's a plan, there's a graduated response, there's a military plan, there's a political direction. And right now, perhaps it is the IRGC, which is taking the lead role, because war is on, and I think that's again a great move. The military is taking the lead to defend the nation.
Yeah.
And what has happened? They have taken the war into foreign land, the Gulf states. Not only that, Cyprus is not a Gulf state.
Yeah.
They have targeted Turkey also. Whether now intelligence says that Israelis have fired and Iran says we have not fired.
We have not
But the point is Iran is achieving aims beyond its. They targeted Azerbaijan. They got good relations with Azerbaijan. And ironically, look at the world today. Israel also is friendly with Azerbaijan. They got relation, military cooperation. So has Iran got. But so Azerbaijan has also been
included in the war.
Included in this thing. Oman, who was doing the political dialogue, and the foreign minister had come, the day war started, one day before, okay, we have come to a very good conclusion. Iran has compromised a lot of things, but they also targeted Oman in this. So there is a messaging in this. We belong to this area. We are a civilization state. It's got a history behind us. We got culture behind us, and we are not going to succumb. And
So they're well prepared, very well prepared.
And indirectly, when we say civilized states, they also put a question: where is your civilization, Americans?
Hmm.
You know, it's an indirect question.
Yeah.
So, without supporting either side, we are discussing an academic issue with pros and cons.
Now, Iran has just made a statement that we will have our sleeper cells become active around the world. What does that mean? और उसमें क्या हो सकता है?
You see, sleeper cells are the ones who are working clandestinely, covert, in any place. You can take in India, we got sleeper cells, IS sleeper cells, Pakistani sleeper cells. They will be working as down south, Bangalore, Chennai, all over. So just the way the grey zone warfare takes place, it's again the intelligence network. And Iranians are spread all over the world. Iranians have been largely upset with the clergy regime. So they welcome the American attack on them. As we have, newspaper reports or the media reports. But when their nation is being damaged to the extent that people are being killed, there are relations there and here also. Expatriates also have got relations. So there, I think now the Iranians in the foreign soil are also not coming out in so much of opposition to the clergy regime, though they want a change, because democracy is a better way of ruling rather than the cruel way, not the tyrannical way. When we talk about the women factor, you see how hijab itself.
Yeah.
So these are all, tyrannical laws, I would say, which we have to modify in the modern world, but it's of course how the land is ruled. So these sleeper cells would be alive. So what happens? They can be a terrorist action. We have seen it happening in our country.
Yeah.
A terrorist attack will take place in Pune, it will take place in Bangalore, it will take place in Delhi, a number of places simultaneously. It's all tied up.
And you think it can impact India as well? Because abhi Kashmir mein, when Kamini died, there were a lot of protests. Lucknow mein, there were protests. I think Hyderabad also there were protests. Do you think this can impact inside India also?
Yes.
It can.
Yes. Why not? Listen, Iran is the largest Shia population country.
Yeah.
And the second largest Shia population in the world is of India. 3 major places I can identify straight away: Hyderabad, Lucknow, and this Kargil, Ladakh. And bang opposite your neighbor is Gilgit-Baltistan, which is also our land. So the Shia population is there. So we're the second largest. And of course, there's a Shia crescent, which was existing till, this Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. Now that has been wiped out because of later on we can come Hezbollah and all that militia. But now in our country, you see, we are a country of cosmopolitan people.
Yeah.
We got a majority of population. We got so many minority population. And our constitution and our leadership looks forward to meeting the requirements of all.
All. And accept.
And so our foreign policy also is largely dictated by these considerations. So that's why India has at time or the other been one time or the other in quiet, where it was a very sensitive situation to deal with. Now, since Kashmir, you see, in all fairness, I must say that Khamenei supported the Kashmir cause against India.
Yeah.
He criticized the abrogation of Article 370.
Yeah, he did.
In that Shanbagh area in Delhi, he again gave support. So there was a degree of Iranian interference there, which should not have been there. Though on a human front, today Indians feel for the Iranians a sort of destruction which is taking place, the losses. Because we are a great nation who believes in civilization, kindness. So we are affected. Sleeper cells will be there. The Kashmir cause is the one which will bury India. Yeah, well, these sleeper cells. But that time it is crossing is not the Shia only. You know. Though, of course, there's a big Shia-Sunni divide. As we see, Gulf countries one side and Shia Iran one side. So India has to be, our internal security has to be alive. And, we were alive when these protests took place on Khamenei's leadership. They said, by India not condoled his death. Well, there was a leader. He was not the head of state in a constitutional manner, though he is the supreme leader.
Yeah.
So we took our time. We bide our time very well. And decisions came out. Whatever we had to do, we followed it up. We controlled the death. We also showed our human front on this 3 Iranian ships which are today docked in India. And we have been criticized for not having acted. When the first ship which was sunk, 87 sailors of the Iranians gone back.
That was not.
But they were in the Sri Lankan waters, really speaking. They had already exited the
Indian waters
from that exercise in Milan, which was there. So, but then we have allowed them docking.
Some people have a different theory around the 3 ships that are currently in the Indian waters. They say कि ये इसलिए इन्होंने रखा हुआ है कि Strait of Hormuz के through India का oil आसानी से आ सके.
Well, there's always the 2 sides of the coin. But knowing India, we do not exploit such foreign policy. Our foreign policy is not one of exploitation. Our foreign policy is one of collaborative, cooperative diplomacy. So to my mind, that would not be the thing. But the payoffs have emerged. Our tankers are gone. And with the Indian flag flying, Americans have watched. Trump says India-Iran deal. Today or tomorrow, 67 lakh LPG cylinders are going to be in Mundra and this other port, Mundra and other Gujarat port which is there.
Yeah.
So it is paying off now. And it is, Jaishankar yesterday said, it is a case by case. It's not a blanket sanction Iran has given. But we also, and the consulate here, this I think head of representative of the Iranian clergy, Ayatollah, he has said that his own feedback is that Indians are feeling for the Iranians.
Okay.
Because,
And that's all.
our culture is like that. We don't like killings.
Now, tell me one thing. Trump of late said that very soon we will have boots on the ground. Okay? If they want to actually topple the current government, they would need to have boots on the ground, as he also said. तो boots on the ground कहाँ से आएंगे? मतलब कौन से border से आएंगे? पाकिस्तान से, बलूचिस्तान से, या on the other side Iraq से? Where do you think if they are actually planning to?
Well, you see, it again depends. Okay, what is the aim? Is the aim, which has also come out, to capture the enriched uranium, which is about 450 kgs, approximate figures. They want to, the leadership only, this core leadership, as he will capture that and bring it.
Oh, but 450 kg is huge.
450 kgs may not be huge, but it is critically sensitive material which has to come. And it is not only that. Where it is, Natanz or Isfahan, which is the place? Is it deep in tunnel, deep under the mountains to capture it? How solid that protective security layer is? What force is then required for that? Will be very largely different if it is going to be like Khadak Island. If you have to do this in that sense, in the aim, if you have to do the nuclear uranium capture, then I think you require anything between a battalion strength for 1,000 people plus, along with other experts like chemical experts and explosive experts and all, because when they're going to handle that, whether it is all
backup.
So that's a very sensitive operation. Whether it's going to be an airborne, whether they're going to come by land. If they have to come by land, then if Iran-Iraq war is a backdrop to it, northwestern Iran-Iraq border is one of the routes which was utilized during the Iran-Iraq war of 1988. There was an 8-year war that time.
Yeah.
So that could be because these areas, these places are in the northwestern Iran, around little distance from Tehran, like that.
But they say it's very tough to.
No,
It's
there's
very tough to enter from
any
that side.
boots on ground which is going to come if America could not get success in Iran or Afghanistan. In fact, actually they got the boot there.
Yeah.
So they should know where they can take their boots now, both in Iraq and Afghanistan. From Afghanistan, so they did run away with their tails on the back. So it's a very difficult terrain, the northwestern mountainous. When you come towards central Iran, it is a very difficult desert terrain.
To cross.
And I wonder whether Americans will be able to survive such hardship, because they first move the air conditioners and then the chocolates into the war zone to fight the war. Now, other is, what is the aim here, the Khadag Island, which comes into the Hormuz Straits, which is the southern Iran, Bandar Abbas and all these areas. Now, if it is going to be that side, then Balochistan is again not a factor, because coming all the way from there,
There is far.
so we are hearing that the Marines are being sent to this area. So about 2,500 strength of Marines will come. So when the Marines are coming, it turns out that it will be an amphibious operation. So it will be a multi-domain operation there, 100%.
From water and from air and
Everything will be there.
everything.
Air, naval, and the military. Because once the landing is done, then you have to exploit the land. For there you need the boots, exactly. So that is one thing. So that is second option. Third is, if you want to come to land, through the Balochistan area, so what will be the aim there? To me, at the moment, it doesn't appeal. It will be a sound thing. And if they have to come for that, they have to utilize friend, inverted commas, Pakistan. Now, so that's a big question, because Pakistan always endangered, but still they come out of it. They initially criticized American
Action.
Israeli and American action into Iran or on Iran.
Hmm.
Later, they have told Iran also, or sent a message, we have a defense pact with KSA, Kingdom of Saudi
Arabia.
So we'll come to their defense. So that means Iran, you're this thing. So when they do that, they're pleasing Americans, but they're displeasing Iran. And when they're displeasing Iran, that collaboration with the Afghan Taliban can take place in Balochistan. So I hope Pakistan keeps doing these things. It suits India. It suits India. Yeah, we see the, what is that saying?
दो बंदर लड़ाई में
दो बंदर की लड़ाई में हम वॉच करेंगे कि कौन वो पीट रहा है डंडोरा जो भी है. So it is something like that, So that's the option also, using military bases from Pakistan. But right now, I think Pakistan will not agree to it, because it will be very much going against China as well.
Yeah.
So Pakistan, playing the best of both worlds, also is vulnerable. So Pakistan, you see, with China factor plays very heavily on them. So any support to USA providing military base or route through Balochistan, the China factor weighs heavily on this thing. So they won't know. Asim Munir may be the strategist, but only within the internal security of Pakistan, where also he's under great pressure even today, he and his pupil, Shahbaz Sharif, because he's not got the field marshal's bit in his hand, he's got the headmaster's danda in his hand. So now, China with the CPEC is a very major thing. It is Gwadar Port. Gwadar Port in times to come might become the jewel for the China or Pakistan. If it really moves along, it will flourish, because the entire route has got a lot of economy which has come up. If it works, because CPEC is under threat, the Baluchi threat. And I think it will be very good if the Baluchi people can do that.
Yeah.
And then there's a arrows is behind the back of Pakistani. So whatever their best of both worlds is with America and China and also Saudi Arabia to get the dollars. But within Balochistan itself, that thorn is more piercing than the rose of those three countries.
Got it. अच्छा एक बात बताओ इंडिया पे क्या इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है ऑफ द करंट वॉर इज देयर एनी इम्पैक्ट ऑन इंडिया वेदर पॉलिटिकल और इकोनॉमिक
Definitely, you see, at the moment, what this 17-day war has told us all or brought before us is that we are all affected. The world is affected at large. India is affected in specific terms. To look at it, the oil and the energy factor itself, basic household, घर में सबको क्या चाहिए? चूल्हा जलना चाहिए. तो मुझे एलपीजी चाहिए. अगर एलपीजी नहीं है तो मैं पेड़ों से लकड़ी काटने जाऊंगा तो तुम्हारा चालान हो जाएगा. So LPG is very important. So energy, this is very vital. We are really affected. But again, our planning has been plus.
वे ahead of time I would say.
You see, LPG cylinders, black marketing, India में ऐसे ही शुरू हो जाती है hoarding. It is not there. Those of us who have got proper gas cylinder license, I can tell सबको बता सकता हूँ we are very comfortable. आपको गैस मिलेगी. But commercial में इन्होंने थोड़ा किया है restriction ताकि hotels and restaurants also take proper safeguards for the good of the country. So this is one factor which has affected us. I'm taking the economic angle in that. Second is, देखिए, the climate part of this war is also very damning.
That means it's
देखो, when all this war takes place, economy and environment is one of the targets which a power who's attacking takes into account to kill the economy and to destroy the environment. And that's exactly what is happening. All this aircraft fighters, bombardments, the naval firing, the missile firing, what it is doing, you're targeting industry, chemical plants, destruction. So carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, all these are emanating. So that acid rain which is coming out because of these factors, so you're going to get affected with that climate because the world is getting affected with that. I'll just draw attention, in the Kuwait war, 1990, which Iraq had launched, when Iraq was moving out, they were thrown out from there. 600 to 700 oil wells, they set on fire.
Yeah, before leaving.
All these gases, you can imagine, they came out, caused destruction of the economy, the ecosystem, forest, whatever was there. It has taken more than a decade plus and billions of dollars to restore that after effects. In the Lebanon war of 2006, Israel, when they attacked Lebanon, oil spills took place, which were as long as, I think, 15 to 20 miles long. That affected the marine and the fisheries very drastically in the seas in the Mediterranean. Now, when this happens, supposing the Hormuz Straits sets ablaze war, then the trade is this way. The Arabian Sea is there. We got a west coast there. The climatic environmental effect will be there, will pay out. So, yes, other thing which war is, India will not be directly affected. Is, this water, if we talk about water, one of the targets, because we are correlating the Iran war also, I want to tell the viewers that this, when the targets are desalination plants, rivers, dams, all this,
health gets affected.
your pipelines, your treatment plants, they will all get affected.
But here this won't happen.
Here it should not travel, but I will think about our Indian expatriates who are there. they'll be
for them
affected.
it will be
They'll be affected. So all this is there. So India politically again, economically I've covered. Politically we are definitely affected by this war. America is trying to dictate that we be anti-Iran totally, which
And-
Indian foreign policy, because of its strategic autonomy, will not accept. We are not going to get cowed down. You see, we are special strategic comprehensive partnership with America, but we are also members of BRICS. We are also member of the SCO. We have to manage our country
relation with every
balancing. So this political implications are definitely there on us. And in turn, the military part of it also gets into play. Because if any country like Pakistan will try to play the Islamic card because of its nuclear bomb, then our military has to be fully prepared for this. And so I'm sure we are prepared, because our Operation Sindoor, when it is still on, it will be 2.0, and Pakistan will enjoy the special prashada this time. First time it was only prashada.
This was my next question. You know, America on and off keeps saying कि ये terrorist state है इसलिए हम जा रहे हैं, weapons of mass destruction है इसलिए हम जा रहे हैं, nuclear power है इसलिए हम जा रहे हैं. Can't India do that to Pakistan?
It's a question which will be close to the heart of every Indian. Okay, what we should do to Pakistan. What I would say, firstly, is the total destruction of Pakistan is not in the interest of India. And why? There will be a great immigration effect, refugees. And who is the bordering country? India.
India.
We don't want to get mired in that. The 1971 Bangladesh war is a lesson. So many refugees came into our northeast. And one of the reasons why India had to fight that war was to overcome the refugee problem.
Yeah.
Now, this is one. Secondly, what will happen to Pakistan? It will break up into Balochistan, perhaps break up into,
Punjab,
Pakistan, Punjab only. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will possibly go with the Taliban, because they don't recognize the Durand line out there, like that. The POK part might welcome to come into India. Their 10 seats are lying vacant in the J&K assembly. So, those things will happen. But how good they will be for our national security or internal security. So we got a long-term thought. To let Pakistan fight in fighting is the best situation for us. Let the Sindhis fight, let the Baluchis fight, let the Khyber Pakhtunkhwas fight. Let them enjoy their fight. Let them enjoy their own blood, I would say. That will pay India better. Indus Water Treaty is good thing. Now, coming season, when we will not share the data with them, non-kinetic measure, they will know the consequences. So, I would say Pakistan has to be controlled. And what can be done in this control is that America, which supported Pakistan to become a nuclear
power
weapon state, America should act. And उसका एक इशारा हमारे भारतवर्ष ने निशानी लगा दी कि जब किराना हिल्स में ऐसा ही धुआं सा निकलने लग गया. कैसे निकला, किसने किया है, वो तो भारतवर्ष तो पीस लविंग कंट्री है, नहीं किया, पर कुछ तो हुआ है कि द एग्जिट जो पार्ट था, वो डोर जिसको बोल लो सिंपल लैंग्वेज में, वो वहाँ पे कोई जा नहीं सकता था अंदर. और फिर वो बोरैक्स आ गई, इजिप्शियन से अमेरिकन पेन आ गए बोरैक्स लेके, दैट वाज द बेस्ट एंटी रेडिएशन matter. But there America got exposed that the nuclear weapon thing is they are controlling in Pakistan. So India being close to America is also a count in that. You see, this diplomacy is a multifaceted game, but it's also a very, very good and dirty game both. How you play it, So But Pakistan, U.S. Ambition of nuclear thing got controlled. So what has happened? Pakistan today is not being controlled by Pakistan government. It's being controlled by the combine of Pakistan and China both. You know,
And America as well.
sorry, by America and China both.
Hmm.
You know, so that is there. It's thing. And they are living, I think, 24 or 25 times since independence. They have been bailed out debt. So that bowl is there. वो रहेगा. Saudi Arabia भी help करता है उनकी. So I think it's my own reading is it's in our best interest. Pakistan should be pegged down where they are, and we have to be prepared that proxy war or the gray zone warfare, that is the live thing in the world environment today. And you're asking me about the sleeper cells. Sleeper cells can then take off anywhere, whether it's the Iranians or anywhere they will take off. And why not? In this case, I just go switch back. America better be careful with their homeland security.
Yeah.
You know, when that 9/11 happened, after that, not much has happened, though they caught a couple of Pakistanis only who were trying to plan something. There have been attempts on Trump on his pre-election, and now in the Margalau, that some odd straggler had been caught. America better be careful of this homeland security because Iran will not take defeat even if they are defeated. So that is the message. Pakistan, I think, better accept India as the elder brother in the true sense. And then, you know, we gave them favored nation, most favored nation treatment in trade. That we stop now. He will benefit from India. Then they will benefit from Indus water, this thing. This government of ours going to see to it that we come up with our dams or other waterworks which suits us. Making dams may be a degree of difficulty, high degree of difficulty on the Indus, but not everywhere.
Yeah.
So we will exploit that which we should have done. We lost out the 1960 Indus Water Treaty by showing benevolence, which is not required. And it took 8 or 9 years or 10 years to work out that treaty. I think it did not behold for us to do such goodness for the neighbor which was wicked, right from 47, 48.
Now, there is another theory. I don't know whether it's theory or the truth. बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं Epstein files को दबाने के लिए ये war शुरू की है. How much truth there is in it? And why would they do it? Like, so what is in it?
So Epstein file is basically an American affair. And America has always had some very good love affairs. So this is one of them. It's a tragic thing what Epstein did to the young girls. That is very tragic. And it is condemnable. And those human beings and those leaders with whom he had contact, who took favors of the kind they were, they really have to be brought to book and to restore fairness in society. Epstein files, now as we see, portion of it has come up. Some of it has been redacted. Trump has tried to play the move that I'm putting it in the Congress and there, but yet 52 pages are missing. Now 52 pages like a pack of cards.
Are huge.
Huge. I wish it was 54 pages missing. At least 2 jokers would have also got accounted in that. So, but on a very serious note, why those 52 pages are missing? Eyes in America point towards their president, the current president. The world is talking about it. So when it happens, a ruler, whether it is democratic or autocratic or a dictator or a theocratic, if he's targeted in any way, so what he does? He plays the external threat card.
Distraction.
So this major distraction, it all started in June when the Epstein files had become active, and it is now played up in that. The attention has totally been diverted. So, having done that, yesterday only I was, I think Senator Chris Murphy of this thing, perhaps I think he mentioned that 75% Americans today are opposed to this Iran war. When it comes to a halt, Epstein files cannot be buried. Those 52 pages may have been hidden or destroyed, but there will be many forms of it existing. That's how, you see, intelligence works like that. So Epstein Files definitely playing, is rocking many of the prominent figures in the world. One, royalty has been reduced to rubble in a country. So, yes, if the US president is involved in it, who will protect? For how long? Because this presidency is not a life term, and pardon may not work out in such case, because society can rise. Everyone has a daughter, everyone has a sister, everyone has a mother and a wife. So it is an atrocity on a civilization front, and as an Indian, I'll say it should be an actionable follow-up on this. So that much on Epstein Files.
Yeah.
Because perhaps it created some good friendships at the heads of states level also. But lesser said about it, better it is.
Yeah. Final thing, how will this war end? Or what do you see, what will be the trigger where this war can end?
This is a question, a weapon which has been inviting the attention of all the media houses, all the channels, and the world over. Okay, how will it end? America, when you get into a war, you have got an aim, which I covered. And then, if you don't have an end state in mind, then you do not know where the escalation ladder is going to be controlled. And the two classic examples I will give today. One is the Russia-Ukraine war, where there's no exit. Exit is that Ukraine surrenders the territory in the Donbass, Zaporizhzhia, that entire region right up to Crimea, which they try to claim even now, though it's in Russian occupation. All those four oblasts, but they can't find an end state. But Putin has defined an end state. The classic positive end state to a conflict was Operation Sindoor. We identified our aim to destroy the terrorist centers, and we did it in one wave on the first night itself. 10, 11 targets in 22 minutes, starting from POK right to Punjab, Bahawalpur. Classic action. Beautifully synchronized and timed. Your land front was totally active, ready to take on. Your sea front, western front of the Arabian Sea, your Gwadar and Karachi, they were just on the horns and locks of our navy. We knew what steps to take. And then when we delivered those 11 air bases, Noor Khan base and others, and Karana Hills, the smoke coming up in all its majesty, I would say, we acceded to the DJMO Pakistan request for ceasefire. I wish we had taken it in writing. So then the propaganda and narrative war
would have stopped.
Would have not taken place.
Not taken place.
So, but it's a classic example. Now, supposing India would have continued, it would have led into one action to other, it would have spread. We achieved our aim, we delivered a message, we told the world, okay, we don't have to inform you of what military action we had to take, we will do what is best for us. And the Prime Minister conveyed it in Bihar on his speech after coming back from, I think, Saudi Arabia. I'm telling the nation I'm doing this, and he spoke in English. The message was to Englistan.
To everybody.
Yes. I will do what is best for my people and what my people want for me. But when he took that action of ceasefire, he didn't need to ask his people. He took it in the interest. 1 person killed, 10 families are adversely affected. So much a loss. Our economy is now not suffered that, So it's a very classic example, Indian wisdom of calling it off. Where is the end state of the mightiest power of what is their planning on the exit state? Now they have extended it to Hormuz Strait. It was expected. Iran will play with Hormuz Strait because there is a weapon in there. And now they come out with that Kharg Islands. Kharg Island is a jewel in the Iran economy. And now they want to rock the jewel. But there are tunnels there. There are tunnels there also, in which I understand my reading. Iran has got its missile type of weapon systems. So it will take some time. So exit state, turning point one, I would say that Iran's doctrine of underground missile cities and its missile warfare, how much, I am repeating from the earlier part, it lasts, that protection capability, how long it lasts, then it will continue. And Iran has also spelled out their demands. War reparations be paid to us. Nuclear program of ours, no to you. And third is, our regime will be what it is. And one or two more. They are spelled out. They're given their end state. They're given their end state. This is what it is. So it is related to their capability. If that is lost, then
It can be an end.
then America will say that these are our terms. And their terms are that there will be no nuclear weapon program and missile, this thing we'll control. Now they will, yes, Iran also says our missile inventory and all we'll control. So, but there's no clear end state at the moment because of the capability existing at this time. Turning point two is where is now Hormuz Strait.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens here? If America, talking of boots on ground, tries to use its marine force in Kharg Island, whether they achieve success is a moot question. Though they are very powerful. Their fifth fleet, which is a very powerful force, is in Bahrain. But in this war, what the media reports say, that Iran has caused fair amount of damage on the Manama, that where the fifth fleet headquarters is. So maybe not a major damage, but they have damaged. There's always a fear. There's always a fear. Even the heavyweight boxer like Muhammad Ali, he entered the ring with fear.
Yeah.
He has to safeguard himself against only one punch. If it is delivered on him,
It's gone.
he'll be on the canvas. That fear Iran has delivered. America has not delivered on Iran. They have no fear, Iranians.
They have nothing to lose. They're
So-
ready to fight.
So in this turning point, Hormuz Strait plays a major role. I question myself. There are 3 aircraft carriers of America. There is the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier of France. And there is also the British, I think, HMS Elizabeth or this thing, which is there.
Sitting there.
So, and 3 to 4 of them are in this this side, Arabian Sea, Persian Gulf side, Red Sea side. I think British is not there. But where are these aircraft carriers so far? Why have they not acted on the Hormuz Strait so far? What is the reason? What is the reason that the president of USA is asking other navies
To
to
be included.
join them in a coalition? And why they have said no? 2 of them, Australia and Japan, have said no. Others have not come out.
Are
because
they scared of something?
there's fear. That fear is of one drone. There's fear of one missile. And what will it do? So, why these aircraft carriers have not come into play? You have mobilized, brought them into the war zone, and still they have not come out. You have suffered damages. You have suffered damages in billions of dollars. Your radar systems have been hit. Your FC-135 aircraft, which is on maintenance in Saudi Arabia, I think 4 or 5 of them have been damaged. You lost 1 in Western Iraq. You lost 3 F-18s
In
in
Kuwait.
Kuwait. And you say that there's a friendly fire. In Western Iraq, you say it was an engine failure. So then, did America or their president have the moral right to question our aircraft in Operation Sindoor? Is it a easy thing to swallow? A friendly fire killed, destroyed 3 aircrafts, not 1 but 3. What is the story? It will come out, So, end state is being dictated. Okay, where this Hormuz Strait will take you. The world is now
looking at
look at that. China is going to get that favored treatment. Iran is letting the oil go. If American aim was to control that, they are losers there. And India comes out bright spark in this. We are getting this thing oil supplies as of now. So that is another end state. So I really don't see an end state coming. But here I can say, if the maturity of the American and Israel joint alliance is not thinking well, then today I call this a regional war. Hormuz Strait and all this Gulf state and whatever happening in Iran and Iraq, Israel
is a regional war.
It's a regional war. It's not a world war. Economic world war, I will accept. It is on since COVID times, where we are taught to be self-sustained. But this war, one of the axis of resistance element is lying quiet. In the army lingo, we say lying dogo.
Lying dogo.
Lying dogo.
Dogo means?
Lying on the ground.
Acha.
And that is in the Red Sea, the Houthis.
Uh-huh.
Why have they not surfaced? You're saying end state, it's going to be the escalatory state. If anything is happening in Hormuz Strait and Iran, now that's my reading, and it's a military reading, and one can, it doesn't have to come out true. If Iran has to go down there, then in the Red Sea, Houthis will come into play. Whatever one odd aircraft will be there, they will definitely feel the wrath of their missile and drones. The trade routes will be disrupted.
To the west.
Which they have been doing. Houthis have been doing. There have been tanker wars in 1980-88, Iran war in the Arabian Sea of the Iraqis. If the Houthis do that, Arabian Sea, then world trade being affected. Because energy war is out right now on. There will be the world trade and energy war on total, both sides.
Yeah.
So, then, yes, likelihood of world war. Then, think also of a nuclear angle. Think also that if 450 kgs of uranium is there, can Iran in its tunnels or the mountains below bring about 8 to 10 dirty bombs to play? What happens? America losing it out. At the moment also America is not the winner.
Yeah.
Because of the damages which have been inflicted having gone wrong in that intelligence assessment of the capabilities of Iranians. Would that like go with a
Desperate measure. That's called a desperate measure.
This is the worst case scenario, I'm saying. It's the worst case, and we all pray it doesn't happen. End state, could it be diplomatic? End state, could it be diplomatic? And who are the people? Russia has offered its services. Whether they come, China is also offered its thing. But both Russia and China are party to Iran, partners with Iran. I feel end state, why doesn't India come up? Because India normally doesn't do mediation as a part of our foreign policy structure. But if we want to be on the top table in the world,
then India should mediate.
So why should not it play? Our Prime Minister is rated very high in the world, political, geopolitical, geostrategic environment. Maybe the policymakers have got a better framework than what I'm saying. But India is well placed to bring about peace. And Mr. Trump says, Modi is my very good friend.
He should listen
So
to
he should
listen to
he should ask his good friend for his services today. If I was him, I will ask him, hey, Mr. Modi, please come. And Iranians have said, we are friends. So is India not well poised for arriving at a solution to bring about ceasefire, which we are advocating to be followed by talks? So I think if I have to give a parting shot,
that should be
India, the strategic autonomy is the fulcrum in the world, as I've been saying in many places. We exercise both our moral right and our fourth largest GDP comes into play.
and we play the peacemakers.
We play the peacemakers. We advocate. ये योग का नहीं है. So let us do it.
Yeah. I hope so. And should peace prevail and India prevail. Thank you so much, General, for being with us. And thank you for having such a detailed discussion when it comes to war, why it happens, and what are the nitty-gritties of it, who benefits, who loses, and how India can play a peacemaker. Thank you so much.
Just I would like to mention here that one has purposely omitted mentioning about what are the weapon system being used, what are the losses.
Yeah.
They're well aware of it, But what angles are coming out? I thought you were addressing that as a greater aim, and I am deeply honored, if I have to say, for a very wonderful, absorbing session you had. You had good questions. You took it all over.
Thank you so much, General. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we also wish that peace prevails and we wish that India comes on top. So please do comment. And if you have any question for General, please put it on the comment section. Thank you.